Hey there everyone, and welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. I have a feeling this is going to be a bit of an odd week because we have basically a snowstorm coming in this week, and I am so excited about it. Everybody else around here hates snow, and I think it's so crazy of them, but I am stoked. It's supposed to start happening around tomorrow afternoon, but I've already been given the clear that if I want to work from home for safety, I can, and I am very thankful for that because I am kind of a baby around any type of inclement weather. Like, I don't want to be out and I just want to be home and cozy and not worried about it. I like to look at it. I don't want to go out in it though, unless I'm watching Scooter just frolic in the snow because it's the cutest thing. And tonight we're actually going to dinner to do a little bit of an early Valentine's Day because we've had this gift card to a restaurant that's very hard to get reservations to in Richmond for some reason. So I am really excited to go there and try that out. And then who knows what we'll get up to this weekend. But let's go ahead and get into the TBR for this week because last week's reading week was so good. 3 4+ star rated books, absolutely amazing, and I'm hoping to follow suit with this week's reads as well. And actually, these are the rest of my book club / buddy read books for the month. So I'm really excited to get into them so that I have like ample time before the end of the month to read some other books that I want to read. But the first one that I'm going to be picking up is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I'm planning to read this physically. I'm not going to listen to the audiobook. I think that this is going to be a better experience for me, but I am so excited. I've seen so many good reviews about it so far. I think it'll be really interesting because this is obviously a sports college romance and it's her spiciest one yet, and I have not really read anything like this in a long time. If this were written by any other author, I probably wouldn't pick it up because this is just not my type of romance. But because Ali Hazelwood wrote it, I will definitely be picking it up and enjoying it. I love this edition so much and can't wait to see what it's all about. I believe it is two college swimmers or some type of aquatic sport, hence the deep end. But yes, this is from one of the book clubs that I'm in. I can't wait to discuss it with them. And actually, for that same book club, and what's going to be my audiobook for the week is going to be The Crimson Moth by Kristen Ciccarrelli, or in America and where I am actually, it is Heartless Hunter. But I have the Fairy Loot edition, so I am really happy about this one. I think that the audiobook is going to be a good experience. It's a romantasy, so it should be not like too much brain power, but it should be interesting enough. It's Witch Hunter. So I am really excited, and I think it's kind of Regency period-esque where they are courting one another. I'm not sure if they know exactly who one another are, and I'm not sure about the whole basis of this yet, but once I get into it, I will let you all know a little bit more about the plot. But The Rebel Witch comes out this month in February as well. So hopefully I like this one and can just jump into the second book. And then lastly, if I finish Deep End early, which will be interesting because this is a chunky romance book, like almost 450 pages, I am going to be picking up The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. I know that I said I was going to read this book last week, but because of the book hangover, and not the good kind, that the favorites put me in, I could not fathom picking up this high fantasy world again. So after I finish Deep End, I'm going to be picking this one up. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait. There are so many people posting in my Fable Book Club about it, and I just need to see what all is going on. I love reading through the comments. And that is this week's stack. I am so looking forward to it. I'm hoping for some cozy nights in, just very chill reading, just some really chill reading. So let's get through the rest of today's work and then we'll go to dinner and go from there. I cannot wait for the snow to come. I can't wait to show you all. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Let's do a little bit of a reading update. But first, let's reminisce. Last night we ended up going to Stella's restaurant and it was the best Greek food I think I've ever had. The service was incredible. If you're ever in Richmond, Virginia, I would highly recommend checking that one out. It was so small and quaint. It took forever for us to get a reservation, but totally worth it. It was so good. And then as you all saw, one, it is indeed snowing. There is a decent amount of accumulation, so very happy with that. I love the snow. And then two, you saw that I'm starting a sourdough loaf, so we'll see how that goes. It was pretty sticky when I just shaped it. A little bit cautious, but I guess we'll see how it turns out. And that leads us into our reading updates. So as you all know, I picked up Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I'm actually about 200 pages in now, which is a little under halfway, and I have some thoughts. So first, we'll give the context. This book is about two swimmers who are in college. One is actually a diver, our main female character, Scarlett, and she is very unsure of herself. She's a junior and she had a pretty bad injury from one of her dives when she was a freshman and has been recovering from that ever since and just very uneasy and unsure about her place in the world. She's very perfectionist, type A. And when one of the senior divers breaks up with her like Swedish gold medalist boyfriend who is a swimmer at the same school, she decides to confide in her about kind of what's going on, and there are some incompatibilities in the bedroom, which Scarlett just seems to, well, she doesn't mind those things. So in a drunken state, the senior is like, oh my gosh, you guys should get together. And it just seems like the start to a really bad adult film, honestly. I was just very surprised about that. It was not very tactful, and obviously the main female character definitely comments on it, but it was just like, what is happening? And so naturally things progress from there, but I'll say pretty slowly. I mean, I guess it's just tough because this is a 430-page contemporary sports college romance. It does not need to be that long, and they didn't like end up doing anything really until like 150 pages in. But to me, when the point of a book is really for the spice, like you can just tell that this isn't as character focused as some of her other work is. It's definitely more so about the spice, which is totally fine, but we should just probably get to that a little bit quicker. Like, why drag out the inevitable? So I have my complaint with that. And then also, if any of you all have the ebook for this book, I would highly recommend looking up how many times she says the words flushed or liquid. I don't know what it is, but those are very overused. Every single thing that happens in this book makes our main female character flush or blush or whatever you want to call it, but she is always has some type of color in her face. It's kind of a lot. And then liquid, you would think, because oh, they're swimmers, like that might be it. No, whatever this man is touching on her is turning to liquid, and it just seems very much the way that Sarah J Maas says, like, watery bowels. That is how it feels with the amount of times that whatever he touches just turns to liquid. I hate that I'm being a hater on this, but I am just not a super fan of the writing so far. I don't care about the spice. Like, the spice is actually probably the best part, but everything else, and it's very disappointing because I really enjoy Ali Hazelwood and her past work, so I am not sure if I'm really liking this newer version. That may change. We will see how it goes. Oh, also, because the senior is on Scarlett's team, they are actually like together all the time, and so she's always coming up, and even though she recommended that her ex and Scarlett get together, she's always just popping her head into the conversation. Like, she is such a focal point in this that I cannot stand it, because I feel like you can't develop the next relationship or whatever they're doing without acknowledging her, and it is just like, I do not like it at all. Yeah, tough stuff for me so far. I don't know, and I'm curious because I really enjoyed the Steminist series, but I haven't read Not in Love yet, and I think that's when she started to write more spicy or just focus a little bit more on the spice in her books, and I'm wondering, like, how do you do that without some other element taking more of a hit? So that is just how I feel right now. Hopefully it changes. I just feel like there hasn't been a ton of character growth in this either. Our main female character, God bless her, is just so anxious all the time, and you know, I relate, that's fine, but she is just like not good. But yes, hopefully the second half is a little bit better, but that is Deep End. And I've only read like a chapter of the Heartless Hunter, so I'm not going to comment on that one yet. But if I end up having to go into work tomorrow, then I will definitely be listening to the audiobook and will report back on my thoughts on that. But for now, I'm gonna go try and get a workout in just really quick before bed and get back to reading Deep End. Hey there everyone, I feel like I've waited forever to give an update because, well, one, I'm not feeling that great. I don't know what's going on. It feels like the most mild flu I've ever had, but it's extremely inconvenient nonetheless. But two, I ended up finishing Deep End by Ali Hazelwood and I gave it a 2-star. This was simply not the book for me. I do not completely get the hype. I love Ali, but I do not think that this book slapped the way that I needed it to. So a couple of thoughts on it, and I've seen a lot of people talk about, oh, she says that there's going to be this specific type of activity in here and then doesn't really deliver. I don't really care. I don't really care about the spice. That was probably the main plot of the book, and there was a lot of it. So I am not upset. That was perfectly fine. What I did have a problem with though is our main female character was the most unsure of herself person ever, even though she is extremely competent, intelligent. She just was a very strong female main character, but because she doubted herself at literally every turn, I just couldn't stand her. And the amount of times that she is either flushing, like blushing over something, but specifically flushing over whatever has scandalized her at that specific moment, or crying. She spends a lot of time in this book crying, and that's nothing against people who show their emotions like that, but for me, I just could not understand why there was always so many tears. So she wasn't the strongest main female character, and since we only get her point of view, we don't really get a break from it. So we had that, but then also a big plot point is our main female character, Scarlett, gets hooked up with her roommate, who is Penn's ex, who is Lucas. So Penn is like, you guys should get together because you like the same stuff, whatever. And then is a central just thought. She shows up all the time. So Penn is just worked into every situation, every conversation, and it's borderline obsessive. I could not stand it because I couldn't get behind Lucas and Scarlett's relationship because it always felt like Penn was in the background just lurking, even when she wasn't physically there. Like Scarlett was always thinking about her. And it was just super weird because it's already tough kind of lining up falling for your friend's ex, but then you either have to accept it or you don't. So like move on if you're going to, but if not, like just break it off because it seems like it's causing you a lot of turmoil, and as the reader, it was just extremely annoying all the time. I'm just not completely sure. It was way too long of a book. The main plot point is spice, so the fact that we waited so long to get into that really aggravated me. I did not like that very much. I think the only thing that kind of saved this book for me is that Ali is a hilarious writer. I love the way that she writes. It's just very funny. And then two, Lucas has decent communication skills, except for when he doesn't. He just says, oh, you don't know, or you really don't know. Like, obviously, like, she's the most unsure person in her life. Like, please, for the love of God, just tell her point blank what you need because clearly she's not going to get there on her own. Sorry, I feel like there's a lot of hate for this book, but it was really just upsetting because it's one of my most anticipated releases and I love Ali's writing, so this just was not the book for me. She recently said that Bride 2 is going to come out soon, so I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that that one goes a bit better. So that is Deep End, my audiobook. I'm about 20% of the way into The Crimson Moth or Heartless Hunter, and I'm enjoying it. I was really skeptical at first because it is, I think, like a YA/new adult, and I'm listening to the audiobook, so I could just feel like I can get more mad at it. I don't know why. But reading it, I can make it sound however, but when I'm hearing the same repetitive thoughts of our main female character over and over again, I'm like, I got it. Like, trust me when I say I got it the first 3 times, I don't need to hear it 10 more. Because of the repetitiveness, it felt almost a bit more immature, like I wasn't going to get there on my own. But now I think I'm really leaning into the story a bit more. I'm enjoying the witch/witch hunter dynamic. I think it's going to be really fun in this, I don't know what era it is, but it feels Regency where they have balls and there's etiquette. So I think that that's a really fun part of the story as well. And I believe we're going to be painting more this weekend, so I will definitely be listening to a lot of this. And then lastly, I was so right about after Deep End going to need a palette cleanser of a high fantasy book, because I was like, I can't do another romance. I just can't do it right now. So I picked up The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, and I'm only like 30 pages in, but I had such whiplash from the start of this book because where book one ended is nowhere close to where book two started. I actually put it down, checked that this was book two before picking it back up. And a light just turned on, so sorry about that lighting change, but I was so excited to just be back in this world with these politics and these characters. Obviously it is going to pick up just right away because they don't have to do as much of the story building, but I will say that there were very subtle reminders of the magic system without being completely overt and just saying it all back to you. So I'm already enjoying this. I don't know how much I'm gonna have to read it this weekend, but I am stoked nonetheless. I can't believe I'm only 30 pages in. These page, like, this is a big floppy book, but also like the words on the page are so small. It takes me so long to read a single page, honestly. But I'm not mad. It's just 600 pages. It's gonna take a minute. So those are all of my reading updates, and today, since it's Valentine's Day, I decided to treat myself because Target is still doing the buy one get one 50% off sale, and I had this one book that I really wanted to get into because I've seen a lot of hype around it so far, and that is The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. And I think that this is also Regency vibes, and you know, I'm just kind of here for that right now. I saw Carter Sullivan reading this and I am really excited for it. I feel like I've seen a couple of reviews so far that say that the ending kind of shows that there's going to be a book two. And I am trying not to start new series because I have so many series, but I really wanted to get this one. I think it's so stunning. The Barnes & Noble edition is white, and for a book that has the word rose in it, I feel like pink was just the way to go. Like, you couldn't avoid that. And then also, so I love how it's pink on the front, but underneath the dust jacket is like my favorite shade of green, but then the end papers are this really pretty pink. So I love this. I think that this could have been really pretty with some like rose colored sprayed edges, but I'm not mad about it. So I think I'm going to try to get to that pretty soon, but that was the main reason that I wanted to go book shopping. And then the second book that I picked up The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I've been looking at this one for a while, and see, like, these sprayed edges are very nice. This is just a cozy fantasy that came out last year, and I've been meaning to get to it ever since. And like, I love a cozy fantasy sometimes because then you have like really fun illustrations on the inside, and I think her main thing is like she makes jam. Who doesn't want some jam? Like, that is so sweet. And these look stellar together. So very happy. That's my little book haul. I haven't bought, I feel like, a new book. Well, just kidding. Deep End was a new book, but that might have to get on hold because it really wasn't good for me. But those are all of my updates. A very long one because I haven't updated in quite some time, but this weekend is a long weekend. I'm very excited. We love a bank holiday, so we're gonna get to painting, like I said, tomorrow, and that's pretty much our only plan the whole weekend, other than getting caught up on different things and like normal tasks. But I'm very excited. We're gonna do a cute little dinner tonight, and we're gonna go from there. So I will see you all when I have another update. It may or may not be Sunday afternoon now, but that is completely my bad because we've been really productive around the house this weekend. So I haven't really been updating at all because I've been focusing on that, but I'll show you what we've been doing after I give you an update on Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarrelli. What I was doing yesterday was painting, so I just had the audiobook on all day and I got to the 80% mark, and it is pretty good, just very entertaining. I don't think it's anything grand or life-changing, but for a romantasy, I am very entertained. The push and pull of witch and witch hunter is really fun. I like seeing the backstories about why people are the way that they are, and then the romance kind of reluctantly but still slowly building has been really, really fun. Also, I love how our main female character kind of just pretends to be this socialite who's very ditzy and shallow, but is secretly this undercover witch saver. And I love that she is doing that. I think it's so much fun. I cannot wait to see how the rest of the book is going to wrap up. I will say the only thing that I don't really enjoy is how over-explanatory it is. So there will be one piece of information that's given at an earlier point in the story, and then we'll reinforce it 3 or 4 different times very explicitly. To me, that is just the author not trusting that I'm going to get it on my own, and I promise that I am. So in that way, it's a bit immature of a writing style, because I would just rather pick it up on my own and make the connections instead of being told everything. But other than that, I think it's been a pretty good time. Also, the sequel comes out on Tuesday, so I might go ahead and just pick up that as an audiobook as well. I think I'm going to get, because obviously this is the Fairy Loot edition of the book, but I don't have the Fairy Loot membership anymore, so I'm not gonna get the matching special edition. So I think I'm gonna sell that one and get just the standard prints of them, because I think they are very entertaining. Definitely a 4-star read that I want to add to my shelf. So I'm having a good time with it. Definitely would recommend. I'll come back with my final thoughts on it before I close the vlog off, but let me show you all what we've been doing. First and foremost, this morning I made some granola, and I'm really excited about it. It was super easy and it smells amazing, and obviously there's a ton of it. So I'm gonna add some dried cranberries and chocolate chips to it and call it a day. And then, like I said, we've been painting in this room. Sorry, there's definitely an echo. But we've been painting in here. We had chair molding, and I'm not sure how well it'll be picked up, but you can kind of see the faint line, and obviously we're trying to patch where there was some holes or issues with where the chair molding had been. But honestly, I think it's going to look so good after it's done. I need to put all of my bookshelves back in there, and subsequently all of the books that need to go back on there. So a super fun afternoon ahead. So yeah, that has pretty much been our weekend. I am very happy that tomorrow is a bank holiday, because I have been just moving all weekend and I haven't really been able to sit down, hence why there is no update on the second Mistborn book, because I just haven't been sitting down to read. We really got in the bed last night at like 9 o'clock and I just passed out. I could not even pretend to try and get into a high fantasy world at that point. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, to being able to do that. Just kind of having a chill day today, because it's rainy and we're gonna need to clean. We're hosting book club this coming up week, so we want to make sure that it is spick and span. But that is all. I'm gonna go get this granola right and get some breakfast and go from there. I returned to you with my final thoughts on The Crimson Moth or Heartless Hunter, and I'm giving it 4 stars. The ending was so good. The climax was amazing. I was so excited with how everything turned out, and it set up book 2 so extremely well. So I will be recommending this one, and I'm so glad. I feel like I've had a lot of books recently where there's a ton of hype around it and then I am just a hater. And so I'm really excited that this one definitely lived up to it for me. It's not 5 stars, it's not life-changing, but it was super entertaining. I thought it was really well done, and I'm definitely going to be jumping into book 2 in my next vlog, because it comes out on Tuesday and I've already pre-ordered the audiobook. It's the same narrator, so I feel like it'll just be like a really nice congruency to just enjoy the entire duology that way. But I think I'm gonna go to Barnes & Noble tomorrow and pick up, because Rebel Witch is already out at Barnes & Noble, I think I'm gonna go and pick up the duology so that I can have them on my shelf together. But I forgot how pretty Under the Dust Jacket is for this one. I mean, look at that. I might have to keep it simply for the wow factor. So pretty happy with that one. I am really looking forward to next week and getting into that reading, and I promise that I will read more of The Well of Ascension next week, because I think I made it 30 pages in this vlog, which is extremely unfortunate, but also that's life sometimes. But that's all for this week. I will see you all in the next one. Let me know what you ended up reading this week, and if you've read any of these books, please don't come at me for giving 2 stars to Deep End, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!